When you make that shift internally for yourself, your specific person has no choice but to reflect that back to you. Your reality literally bends to your dominant story. So if you hold on to your positive news story with your SP, they have no choice but to conform. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm definitely inspired with some new facts and points and just pieces of advice that I would personally like to share with you. So we're delving deeper into your specific person manifestation. If you're new here, I do have lots of other videos about SP, about manifesting your specific person, overcoming the issues and hurdles that may show up for most people along the way that you are likely to maybe question or experience. So all my videos are here to support you guys throughout that. Before we jump into it, I do have other things that are popped on screen and linked right below. All the buttons and links are right below the screen that you're watching right now, for my coaching, bonus content as a member, and all sorts of things. I'm literally going to, by the time you're watching this video, I am going to be working towards my Q&A. So if you want to be part of it this month, submit your personal questions at a really low cost of just $8.99 a month, then do click the join button right below. But yeah, without further ado, if you would like to subscribe as you're watching, I'd also appreciate that. Let's hop into it. I will say the lighting is really gloomy, or rather the weather is really gloomy, so it looks a bit darker. So if things look a bit weird in this video, I apologize. It's not permanent. It's just today I have the light of my screen here as well. But yeah, let's just ignore any weird lighting for this particular video. In quantum terms, you're not even selecting or creating, well, no, you are selecting. What I mean is you're not creating something new, but you are selecting. So what you want, your relationship with your SP, the reality where you are in this happy, amazing relationship already exists. So you're selecting the reality where you're already chosen and loved and committed to by SP. It does already exist. You just need to convince yourself of it. And that is how you physically experience it in your physical reality now. Bring it into your experience, into your physical world, because that parallel quantum potential reality is already a possibility. Your subconscious mind actually controls and programs and dictates exactly what you're going to experience based on your assumptions and beliefs. That is what has to be reflected back to you in your experience, in day-to-day life, in your relationships, just how you experience life. So your ability to achieve your goals is always possible, but whether it will actually happen is down to how you think, your assumptions, your mindset. And in order for your 3D reality to conform, your inner story has to conform first. So it does all start from you. So your inner story, what your dominant focus is, your dominant story, that is what dictates what you're going to experience. And then your 3D reality follows on from that. So doing the inner work affects the subconscious, which then reflects out into the 3D. As Neville Goddard himself said, the world is yourself pushed out. So how you view the world, how you view your life, your relationship with your specific person is what you're going to experience. So your SP is you pushed out, essentially. So in this case, yeah, we would apply it to SP as you pushed out. So what you're experiencing, what you see, the treatment you receive from your specific person entirely hinges on how you think, what assumptions you have about your SP, about dating, relationships, your worthiness of commitment. Self-concept can play a part in it. It's not going to stop or speed up your manifestation if your other assumptions don't align, but it can help a lot. So if you have low self-worth or low self-confidence, definitely work on that alongside it, because it's going to be harder to maintain a healthy relationship or healthy treatment from your SP if you don't already have that good self-concept, because that also does reflect outwards. It's definitely not about trying to force your affirmations to work or speed up. Your affirmations will work with repetition and consistency. You're not forcing your affirmations to reflect or forcing the 3D to conform. And you're certainly not, looking outwards or going outwards to take physical action to speed up your manifestation, force it to happen. This will happen on its own. If there's something that is inspired action and meant to happen, part of your manifesting journey, you will make that action naturally in the moment. You don't pre-plan and say, if I think 5 steps ahead, SP will reply to me or do this or fall in love with me. You have to let things unfold naturally. Trying to force it is not going to guarantee you anything. And remember, the main center of it, as I already said, it's the inner story. It's you internally putting in the focus. It's about you becoming the version who is already loved and prioritized and chosen by your specific person. So you're not trying to force your SP to become a completely different version. You're changing your assumptions about them, which they reflect back. Which they reflect back to you. And you are just adopting the identity and starting to think and feel and just become the version of you who is in that end result. It all conforms together naturally. Your feelings will come together. Obviously, you don't force that. It's hard to incite a feeling, when you're not feeling good. Like, you're not going to suddenly feel super confident and excited about your relationship if you're having a bad day or something happened in the 3D, but it builds up. It does come together. You just need to stay consistent, not let the 3D, push you down whilst you're manifesting your SP. Basically disregard the 3D as absolutely nothing, meaningless. Just keep thinking that way and trying to convince yourself of that in terms of your SP as you're manifesting them. That's the context in which, your 3D is irrelevant. And you are just trying to become and putting in the effort to think as the version of you who is already loved, chosen, and prioritized and committed to. Whatever would reflect, whatever, verb or adjective would align with the result that you actually want with your SP, that's who you're becoming. That's who you're thinking as. That's the end result, because you are going to feel and think that way when you're with your SP. And when you can create more of consistency and stability, because it does take repetition, it does instantly start. As soon as you put in the effort and start applying repetition and thinking a more positive way, it does have an impact, absolutely. And it does start to create that domino effect. You do need to take time to, maybe even, it could be a couple hours, it could be a couple days, for your internal state, your internal focus, your new dominant story to stabilize, to balance, and for that internal story and however you've been thinking repetitively, for it to stabilize and start to become your new thoughts, your new assumptions, your new beliefs, for it to reflect out, for your SP to respond to that, even when it's silence, even when it's, no communication, if you want to call it that. Your SP will respond to that. They will feel it. Obviously, it's not a literal connection where it's, telepathy. They won't know that, but they will start to feel inspiration. The natural unfolding process will come together. It does all happen perfectly and naturally. You are not forcing anything. You are selecting a version of reality where it exists, and your SP will naturally conform. That's why you don't take 3D action. You don't try and force them to do something. They have to get to that end result in whatever natural way comes about, but it will be the path of least resistance. And you are just focusing on that internal story. What are you telling yourself? What are you thinking? How are you being when it comes to your, day-to-day mindset and the way you handle things? So your internal focus and that new state, the new story that you're adopting, it's gonna leave no choice, because you're convincing your own mind and saturating your own mind so much with this new reality that they have no choice but to conform. They have no choice but to reflect that state back to you and start to develop feelings and thoughts that align with that. But it does all come together naturally and perfectly as it's supposed to. So before I get into the final section of how to really kind of double down and really lock that end result into your reality, I do have a few extra points for anyone else. This is just good inspiration in general, and it's something Neville Goddard has spoken about, tying it into Florence Scovel Shinn, because I actually have her book here. I'm going to read out a quote for anyone who's interested. I even had a request, but here's a couple religious points to tie into this, to tie in your faith into manifestation, how to connect the two in a really perfect, beautiful way. So if you're interested, you can skip ahead, but here are some extra points that I wanted to share with you guys. A little quote specifically about love, a relationship. As I am one with God, the undivided one, I am one with my undivided love and undivided happiness. So you're connecting your connection to God, and God is already perfect, but you're connecting your connection there with also feeling that end result, the happiness, the gratitude, the undivided love, as she said. So you're connecting to these feelings and these thoughts and these states. The feelings themselves don't manifest on their own, but it's good to connect that way. And when you connect that, especially when it comes to your faith and trust in God, you will naturally start to feel that. It does become easier. You do feel a better sense of hope, in my opinion. So being one with God and connecting that, you kind of just start to feel these positive feelings that you would feel in the end state of your relationship with your specific person. So that's just a little extra way that I interpret that quote. I thought that was something nice to add in, because I know this book has so many great sections for manifesting all sorts of things. So that was a little affirmation. If anyone is religious or would like to incorporate that, I think that's a nice touch. And another thing that I think brings people peace, and that is obviously spoken about and in an inspirational way for anyone who has religious beliefs, or if you just like to look at it in this way, because I know some people like to say, you know, they believe in a higher power. So for me specifically, belief in God is also remembering, and what people find peace in, God having created infinite possibilities, limitless potential in our realities here on earth. You know, we do have free will, and we are using that free will in our individual realities to manifest and create the goals and results that we want. In this case, a relationship with your desired person, and nothing would be withheld from us. So there's also a great quote, I believe, or phrase used in the Bible: ask and you shall receive. That's a shortened quote, but essentially you ask God, you pray for it, and you receive it. So it does tie into having faith with manifestation as well, in terms of trusting that you can achieve and create the relationship that you want, all the goals that you want. So trusting in that co-creation with God and knowing it's already done, it already exists. If it's going to bring you the most happiness, most success and treatment that you deserve, what you want and what you deserve and need in your life, of course it already exists. Of course you can have it 100%. It's already done. It's already in existence. And that is literally what I've been saying about manifestation and quantum realities. So I personally like to tie the two in together. That's my personal approach, especially even more right now with my mindset. That's how I like to see it. So when you do start to feel doubt, because it's likely to come up throughout manifesting, remind yourself and use a mental diet affirmation, whether it's already your set SP affirmation or just saying something like, you know, SP is already mine, it's already done, this relationship exists, and SP and I are together. Reaffirming your new story, your new reality, and just reaffirming it in that exact moment to shift your mindset, let go of the doubt and say, no, this is what I have right now. So to analogize, I think I might have said this once in a video in the past, but it's like going to the gym. Using repetition, it's like building a muscle, and literally like going to the gym and doing literal reps, right? Like going every day. After your first day, you're probably not going to see a difference. You're probably not going to lose visible weight. You might feel the pain or the, you know, muscle ache, especially if you're just starting, and that's day one. But it builds up. The repetition, you're toning that muscle, you're building the belief, you're building the new assumptions in your subconscious. It is building into your SP conforming. And it doesn't matter if you believe it yet. You don't need belief. That's not part of a manifestation tick list. You don't need to instantly believe it, because that's just impossible. It's very impossible unless you use self-hypnosis. You're not just going to suddenly convince yourself, especially not in one day, that, you know, you already have your end result. If you're going to the end result. If you're going in steps, it is a little bit different. It can be quicker and easier to build into those steps, but the full end result of something larger and your like ultimate dream result, like marriage with SP, for example, it builds up. But trust that every bit of repetition and practice you're doing is building up, is creating the result. So your subconscious is learning through that habit, learning through those practices. So yeah, when you shift into that state of being chosen, being with your SP, even if it's just a text message from SP, whatever it may be, when you build on that and you keep repeating that and you are building the momentum of those assumptions, your SP has no choice but to conform it. They have to reflect it back to you. You're at the center of your own individual reality. You get to decide which goals, which quantum realities you're connecting to and working towards. And that has to be reflected back in your reality. It's already done. It's already been created. So that is going to be today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Bye.